One. Goeiemorgen. Goeiemorgen, lieve gemeente. Lieve broers and sisters. It's so wonderful to be here with you. It's a privilege. Well, God is goed, devil is veel goed. First time I was here in 1997. It was my very first visit outside of my country to South Africa, to country far away from Ukraine. You could imagine how I felt. So I came here to South Africa, and the first person who met me in airport was Pastor Andrei. So he drove me through to Ermelo, to a place which some people in South Africa say, what is Ermelo? But for me, Ermelo, back in 1997, became more than a dot on the map. It became a very emotional town. Because when I was accepted by your church, when I first come here and met with some people whom I actually seen today, and this is miracle which goes through years. Actually, I was ping-ponged from place to place. I was staying in one place, and next day I was staying in another place. I just unpacked my bag, and the same moment I had to go to other people, and I complain. I complain. I said, why don't you put me in one place, and I can just meet with people? But you know, it was the right thing to do, because people I stayed in 1997, I still have emotional tie with through the years. And back in 1997, there was a prophet here during my visit. His name Heri Kisveta, and maybe some of you know him, maybe not. But he asked me to come forward, and I came exactly to this place. As a young man, I think I was 22 or 23, and he said very strange prophecy, very, very strange prophecy. And he said to me, listen, every time when you come to Ermelo, you will be given a pair of shoes. And people will call you shoe man. I said, okay, but when I was thinking about this prophecy, first of all I thought, well, it means that I come again. And during this period of time, I was able to visit Ermelo for several times. God blessed me to visit South Africa quite a few times. South Africa became a country probably visited by me more than any other. And every time it was a miracle, because I didn't have resources to come here, and I could not plan myself, but God just opened door. And you know, every time when I was coming to Ermelo, I was getting a pair of shoes. It's a very strange prophecy, but somehow God used this man just to say that our relationship with your church would be tight. And this is exactly what happened. And funny story, back in 1997, when I first time was here, somebody took me to Witbank, and while I was in Witbank, probably for 1 or 2 days, maybe even for one service, I don't remember, but I remember one man coming to me and he asked me, are you Russian? I said, actually, yes, I was born in Russia. I have Russian passport. I'm living in Ukraine, but my citizenship still Russian. But he looked at my eyes and he said, you know, we eat Russians. So I want to say thank you. Thank you all, and thanks to your church through all these years. It's more than 20 25 probably years. Yeah? My math is not working in English. 29 years, 28, 29 years, and we still have that connection. And through the years, you've been a huge support to me personally, to our work in Ukraine and to our church, and especially for last period of time. So I would like to share with you what's happened with us, what's happened in our local situation, and then I will tell you what lessons we learn. That would be a biggest part in my sharing with you today. Basically, I will share my heart. I would not call it as a preaching. And in the end, I will leave you a very short message, very simple one, but very important. So I will start with my testimony for last period, for last 3 years. In February, 22nd February in 2022, we woke up from explosions. You do not see it very clear, but you can see missiles landing in the background. So that's what was happening in Kiev. It was 4 in the morning, and we just woke up from explosions. And I pushed my wife. She has a gift. She have a supernatural gift. She can sleep everywhere, at all circumstances. The moment she put her head down, she's already sleeping. Not me. So she slept. I woke her up. I said, "Listen, come up. War started." And she said, "No. It's not possible. It can't be." So she turned on the other side and she continued to sleep. But next moment she heard explosion herself and she just jumped up. So this is how we understood that our life is not going to be the same anymore. So this morning we phoned everyone. We were constantly on phone. One day became like a year. Thinking back about this time, I think this day was so long. But in this day, we called other people. Some people said, "We don't know what to do," and we said to them, "Come to us." So we picked them up. We brought them to our house. Some people were scared and just tried to understand what next. We did not know. We didn't know for how long, what's going on. But at this time, because of all explosions, we felt for some people it would be safe to stay with us. And we live on the ground. We invited people to our house, and it was a smaller group, and then it became 11 people. I will show you a little bit later. Well, actually, I can show you now. Yes, this is first group of people which found security in our place because they all live in the tall buildings. And it was not secure so much, and it was very scary when explosions happen and when your building is shaken. So these people came to us. Other people tried to evacuate themselves, and we were helping them. Just God told us in this time to encourage people who could get away from Kiev to go out. And for the first few days, we were just constantly on the phone, just encouraging people to get out. And out of our congregation, which was healthy, growing, good at the stage, about 70 people at this moment, about 95% people left Kiev. Some of them left outside country, some of them went for several months to western part of the country. And we stayed in our home with 11 people at this stage, and we didn't know what to do because suddenly we didn't have church. We helped other people to get in a safer place. So now question came to us, to me and my wife, what should we do now? After we helped other people and took care of them, what about ourselves? And we prayed. And we had the same answer. Me and my wife, we just decided to stay. We didn't know what is going on. We didn't know what will happen in Kiev. At this time, Kiev was, from two sides of Kiev was not surrounded, but from two sides, Russian forces were standing just a few kilometers outside of Kiev. And we constantly heard explosions, fight, missiles, bombards, all kind of sounds, machine guns. And we just, at this time, we did not know, would Kiev be totally surrounded or what is going to be next? But we just felt like we need to stay here. And we trusted, literally we trusted our life into God's hands. And we said, if you want to take us now, it's okay. You can take us, we are ready. But if you can use us here, we will be here. We will be for people who cannot leave. We will be for people who stayed, who scared, who scattered. And we will be here to show church. At this time, a lot of churches moved away. Many church gatherings closed. Church leaders moved away with their families, and we felt, no, we should not do this. And this was not our natural decision. We received it from the Lord. And the moment we agreed with that, peace came to our heart. We just experienced such deep peace and understanding that our life in God's hands. It was a little bit different with our physical bodies, because at this time I lost sleep. I was not sleeping well. I experienced adrenaline quite often, but in my heart I had absolute peace. But my physical body just reacted to all these explosions and to these air waves differently. I could not control it. It was a stress, physical stress inside. We felt, what should we do? And God told us, what do you have? Every year we had a summer camp, which developed nicely. Before the war, we had 3-4 camps, one after another one. Every time we built up camp in the forest, starting from nothing, coming to pure forest, and build up our stage. And we had summer camps, summer tent camps in these wild places, or actually one place. And before the camp, starting from when we finished with previous, we started to collect food for next one. That was our practice. And basically, we collect food, we put it under our beds. We collect rice, we collect tins, we collect different food products for next camp, because we didn't have that much resources which we could have immediately. And it was February, and we did have some savings for our next camp. At this time, God asked us, what do you have? So we took out from our beds everything what we had. All the food products. And at this time, like few weeks after war started, a lot of shops were empty. A lot of shops were closed. People who left in city, some of them, they could not get outside of their flats because of physical condition. It was elderly people. And we, at this time, we just started to get all kinds of phone calls. Please come and help, please come and help, please come and help. So we took what we had and started to make food bags, food parcels. So our ladies who stayed in our place, they just started to make food parcels, and we would drive by our cars and deliver it to other people. And Kiev became like a military place. Everywhere, anti-tanks equipments, all roads just blocked, and you could not go the routes you are used to. You need to find the open route. And every 100 meters, you will be stopped, and your documents would be checked. And I need to tell you something which you probably will not understand. Me and my friend Sergey, we are in the same basket. Actually, before war started, we never met. I will tell this story a little bit later. But we both have Russian passports. We are Russian citizens, living in Ukraine, having Ukrainian wives. And me to travel with Russian documents in a car where Ukraine resisting Russian aggression was scary. Every time when I was going outside, I was saying, Lord, if my life finished now, it's up to you. But people checked my documents. Very often they were just blind. They were looking at my documents. They didn't understand that I'm a Russian citizen. Sometimes they checked me more deeper, but they were all right. And we were delivering these food parcels to people outside, and we were helping them. When other people in our surrounding find what we do, they called us. People who stayed in Kiev, in our area where we live, they called us and asked, are you helping other people? Are you doing volunteer work? And I said, yes. Can we give you food? So they gave us vegetables. These vegetables come from our neighbor we never met before. And this momentum of our obedience and Spirit and Holy Spirit work opened up something. People from non-Christian organizations, from volunteers organization, they also phoned us and they said, are you on the left bench on Friva? We said, yes, we bring you some supplies. They brought us milk, they brought us salads, they brought us a lot of things people gave to them. We said, we take care on the right side, you take care on the left side. And then God opened something else. Another people and companies start to give us supplies, start to bring us things we can share with other people. Food, medicine, clothes. So our stock grew up. It's still a first floor in my house. From something we took from out of our beds, it was becoming like a little mound. And then other people brought a cargo of different goods and just unload it on our garden. So now we have a stock to help people with more clothes, more food, and of course we put it inside of our room. 11 people staying in this place, and we basically have no any extra space to go around. So we said, Lord, we need a warehouse. We just need a warehouse. And we tried to find, and we struggled with that. And when we prayed, God told us, just ask one of your church members who moved away from Kiev. And we found this lady, and she was working in a Christian private school before war started, and her school evacuated. So we phoned to this lady and asked, do you know if your facility is available? And she said, I will contact owner. So she contacted her boss, And this lady said, you can have it. You can have it for free. And the warehouse was given to us, and we said, we would like to pay for that. And she said, no. I don't want you to pay for that. So for first year, we could not even pay for electricity. Because they said, you are doing good things, just keep on. Go on. And suddenly this place was available. And when we had this place, God opened other sources, other people from Western Ukraine, and from people outside we never met before, actually. They contacted us and they said, we have supplies. We will deliver to you. And we were given more supplies, and we were able to serve bigger number of people. And we had already place to put these supplies. And then, you will never believe, but from our gypsies, from our Roma people who have been in our community before war started, and they were first to be evacuated. They're not very brave toward war people, but through them, God gave us the biggest supplies we received, about 10 tons of food. A big cargo came and just delivered it, and it was from our Roma people. So we were just amazed at this time what God is doing. And we just understood that all of that, it just started from the small step of our obedience and of our willingness to give our life to Him, to rely on Him. After that, we just felt we need a place to invite people, because at this time, city was a little bit changed and people could get around. Before that, city was blocked, and we were delivering basically all supplies in our cars. But situation changed. Enemy was moved away, and people could get around in the city, and we just started to think, we need a place to invite people. We need to open a social center. And God gave us a place where we open social centers. And God gave us transport, actually two transports to take care of our goods and to be able to travel in country. So now we have 3 warehouses, 1 social center, and we still going on ministering to other people. And also we have a soup kitchen outside on the streets, which is working for more than 2 years, giving food to people outside. And about 120 people coming to get food right now, every Saturdays. We can do it on only Saturdays. What's happened with church? Our church, from situation where we grew up, became very small. From 70 people and from people we raised from childhood. Because our situation, our church didn't grow rapidly, didn't go fast. We were discipling people, putting a lot of energy, raising them up, and we were on the stage of good development. And suddenly 5 people left from our church. And we could not go to our place where we had meetings before. We had church in our house. Some people joined us. Some of brethren here would have opportunity to come to our Sundays, but they are part of military right now. Some people here, they are on the front line. Somebody is not alive. In this picture, which was in early stage of the war, we already said goodbye to somebody. But in reality, only 5 people left, and we just said to the Lord, okay, you said to us to build up a church. and we would like to continue. So in a few months, we came back to our place of gathering, where we were gathering before, and we started our Sunday meetings. At first time, we had 6 people. And then God started to multiply. Now we have about 40 people coming to us every Sunday. Most of them are not believers. This is not a Sunday service. This is evangelism service where we use paintings to explain gospel. And we invite people, we served with food. So many people who came to church right now, those people were touched by love. And they saw Christ in us. And the biggest miracle above all, was our daughter. Me and my wife, we were married since 2013. And we could not conceive. For 10 years we were battling. And we could not. We used doctor's help. Nothing helped. We thought maybe to adopt children, maybe to do echo. We just thought about different things, but God stopped us in a way. And when war started with my citizenship and with all situation, I felt that I can be knocked out from the country very easily. So I didn't have peace to adopt a child at this time, but my wife wanted to have a child so deeply, and me as well. And when we celebrated our 10th anniversary in October 2013, in the middle of war, we just find out a few weeks later that she is pregnant. And she could not believe. She did 3 tests. She did not believe. Because we just agreed with idea that we would not have children for 10 years. We've heard about people for 7 years, for 5 years, and how God blessed them. But for 10 years, actually, we didn't have much stories about God's provision. And we already agreed that probably it's good that God didn't give us children, maybe because of situation and war and our place in this situation. But now, Polina is just thinking, what's going on? She thought something is wrong in her body. So we went to a doctor, and doctor examined her. And she said, no doubts, you are pregnant. And she showed her little heart. And Polina burst in tears. For 2 weeks she could not believe it. And she was crying all the time. And in the middle of war, we have a beautiful child. We have a beautiful girl. We love her so much. And she is really dear. And she became for us like a extra hope that God cares. God is with us. And in this time when we would not physically think and we would not physically plan, we would probably say, no, not now. But God just said, it's a perfect time. It's a perfect time for me. And you are in the right place. So we just felt that all of this because we said to the Lord, yes. Yes. You can do with our life what you want. And we are not to look for our security, but we would like to be with you. We would like to be in a place where you want to see us. And I just want to share a few lessons which God taught us through that time. And just before that, I want to say that some people came back to the church. God brought to us wonderful people who became a big blessing, and Sergei is one of them. 1.5 years ago, we met first time. We did not know one another before, but God just led his family in very, very specific way. And they came to meet us, and I found out that actually God spoke to him that he must go to our church because God wants him to be in our church. And when we first met, I was thinking, no, he was missionary in Turkey. Well, he had experience in the ministry. We are right in the beginning. We just on the church planting ground now. Probably it would be difficult for me to work together, but God just united us. God just united us like this. And you know, when he first time came with his wife, with his sons, and with his mother-in-law to our Sunday meetings where we had just few people, his wife and his mother-in-law, they took a mop and they cleaned all place. So they came into our church with a servant heart. And when Andrei said about him that he is using business for God's kingdom, that's absolutely truth. I can agree with him. Even now, his family is supporting people who serve in Turkey. Even now, for us, being in all our struggles, in all our situation, in what is going on, even now, he believed that God is blessing him to be a blessing. And just a couple words about what is going now after 3 years. War is going on. Every night we hear sirens. Every night we have air attack, drones and missiles. Every night we hear explosions and anti-aircraft equipment which takes down everything what flies. It is ongoing process we are in. War is not at our door, but we constantly in the presence of war. Every day our people resist enemy and fight on the ground field. At this moment, it's a distance from Kiev, and we do not hear fight itself. But every day, we are reminded that war is not finished. Our economy is down. If not for support which comes from outside, we would not be standing in our economy. But because other countries in Europe, they supported our economy with resources, Ukraine is still okay. Everything available in our shops, if we have money. Many people left their own houses and went to find a safer place in Kiev, in west of Ukraine, in bigger places. So Kiev, at the moment, our place where we live, is filled mostly with refugees. 8 million people left our country. 8 million people. We were 35 before war started. So 8 million people, they moved outside the borders. Many families separated. Many families right now have to live in different places. Wives and children living outside of the country, and men are not allowed to leave. So every day we have people who walk in a military uniform and looking for people to recruit or to force, actually, for the military. And some people do not want to go there. So this is what is going on. But let me come to the lessons. What did we learn through this time? First of all, I want to say that when you experience something like this, and you make decision to trust your life into God's hands, you experience that God is taking you to His arms. That's what we experience at this time. We just felt to be in God's arms. And God said, I will open up sources in the wilderness. Wilderness is a place with no your establishment, with no your comforts. It's a change. It's something you cannot rely on usual things. It's wild. And when everything changed, we just experienced how God picked us up in our arms and opened up sources of supplies. You know who was first phoned to me? Peter Stovberg. Do you know this guy? Yeah, he's a very special. He phoned me. He said, how are you doing? I said, well, you tell me. He said, what do you need? I said, everything. We don't have, right now, we cannot even withdraw money from bank machine at this moment just to fill our tank, and it's impossible to fill tank because we have empty petrol station. And he said, no, you just need to know that we are with you at this time. And he sent some resources for us to fill petrol and to fix car. And during this time, I want to say your church helped us tremendously. You became one of the biggest supports we have. You several times helped us to keep our transport in good condition, with our challenges, with our needs and with our personal needs and resources. So I want to say thank you. But of course, God said, I will open sources. So when you rely on Him, when you decide to trust your life to Him, He takes you in His arms. Second thing we learn, to weed out the unnecessary. When situation like war came, we just understood we had a lot of unnecessary things in our lives. We have a lot of things we were looking for, we were living for, we were trying to achieve. And it was for us a time when we had to whip out, to proceed things which is not important. And to understand what has the most importance. And you can guess our relationship with Christ and our relationship with one another. You know, people suddenly started to evaluate a relationship like nothing more. They were not leaving our place when they could already until Kirby hour, until 12, until 11. They would just stay until the last moment because they wanted to be. Suddenly, people who never have time, they have time available. Because all of us, we just started to appreciate relationship. If we see one another for the last moment, nothing can be more important. And our relationship with Christ and things we need to do in our life, that all became like bigger. We focused on that. Third lessons, which we learned, that if you choose Christ to be your driver, He will help you to make right decision. If you choose Him to be your leader, to be your Lord, He will help you to make right decision in the time of tribulation. And last question. when you face something like this, you always ask a question, or last learning experience, last lesson. You always ask a question, what I am living for? Why I am here? What I am living for? And in a situation like this, you just have to be very honest with yourself. You either live for your own comfort, or you either live for His glory. And you have to choose. Because there is no anything in between. If you live for your glory, you just pack your stuff and leave. Or your own support. But if you live for Him, you ask Him, what is the right thing for me to do? And anything God tells you, you're just ready to accept. Let me say something. I really believe that situation we are now in Ukraine, that's probably the best situation for God's kingdom to spread. And I believe we as a church right now need to use this opportunity. Not to look for a place where we can find ourselves in more secure and in the future better opportunity position. But I think right now people are vulnerable as never before. People need to be cared as never before. People need to be loved as never before. And this is giving the keys which open their heart. When they see church which did not leave them, but here with them and bring Christ through the action, they say, I want to know your Christ. I want to experience Him in my life. We wanted the situation to become a revival, but it didn't happen. We wanted people to have hunger, but it didn't happen. We wanted people to knock on our door and say, hey, where is the church? We need the church. But it didn't happen. People were not looking for us, but people were looking for help. And when we bring Christ in a practical way to them, they are open to hear about Him. So I'm really believing that this situation is the best situation for spreading God's kingdom. And probably church would not have a better opportunity. So in the end, I want to leave you with a very simple message, with a very short message which I believe important for all of us, for our life. And I want to read one verse from Paul's prayer to Colossians. It's Colossians 1:27. It's written, to them God chose to make known how great among the Gentiles are the riches of the glory of His mystery, which is Christ in you, the hope of glory. How big the riches of the glory of this mystery he is talking about. And this mystery is Christ in you, the hope of glory. When we come to meet Jesus, and I believe everyone should meet Jesus. Doesn't matter if you live in a Christian family. Doesn't matter if you learn how to pray to God from your childhood, but there is supposed to be a moment when every person open his heart to Jesus and say to Him, I bring to you all my wages. I bring to you all my sins. And I ask for your forgiveness. I invite you in my heart. And at the same moment, we experiencing Christ. Some people remember that, some people know. But I remember this moment. At this moment, I just felt so happy. I was forgiven. I was so light, I wanted to fly. There was nothing important for me except Christ and my new life. Christ was with me, and He accepted me. And I was very happy. But later something changed. I was not experiencing that. And I tried to do a lot of things. I tried to study. I tried to do something, to be involved in the ministry, just to experience Christ more. And other people were helping me and saying, well, if you want to have a victory in your life, you need to do this and this and this. And I was very obedient. I was passionate to experience Christ. But the more I tried, the less I felt it. And somehow we tend, I'm showing on myself, we, including other people I know, we tend to exchange Christ on moralism. Somehow we exchange this joyful relationship with Christ on ethical, moralistic principles of which explain how Christians should live like. And we use these principles to be closer for Christ, to be accepted by Christ. And we work hard on being Christian. And the more we work, the less happy we become. And at a certain point in my life, I just felt, stop. Something is wrong. You missed the point. Because you must not live in your hard work which tries to be closer to Christ. You must live out of Christ, out of His life, out of His presence. Not toward His presence, but out of Him. The Christ is in you. And He is the only hope of glory. One of the main pillar of Reformed theology is saying the Christ only. Sometimes we say Christ plus. But if I want to preach anything to you, I just want to preach pure, simple gospel. Gospel which says to us that Christ died for us. He died for us, and He is lifting our hands to us to accept us fully and to forgive us fully, because it's all coming from Him. We cannot deserve it. And when we experience Christ, when we open our hearts for Him, He starts working our life, which is changing us. And everything else, if we want to learn more about Him, it's not because we want to be more victorious. We already have victory. We need to live it. We need to remind ourselves that this victory is in Christ. Not in our work, not in our methods, but in His presence. He is the victory. And He is the same like He was in the first moment when we experienced freedom and when we were happy. The same Christ is in you, the hope of glory. And glory is in Him. And He came to our life to teach us, to encourage us, to do work in our heart, to change our character. It's all His work. It's all happened because we have His presence, not because we try to be in His presence. So very often we need to preach gospel to ourselves, not to unbelievers. Jesus is saying, I stand and knock on your door. Whom is he saying this message to? To the church. He is saying that to a church. I am standing and knocking. Very often we need to preach gospel to ourselves, to remind us that our faith must be in Jesus, must allow Jesus to fill our life. And our faith must lead us into relationship with Him. And relationship with Jesus becoming the main point. When you experience crisis, theology doesn't help. It will not help you, I promise. I've been there. Your good personality will not help. If you do not stand in relationship with Jesus, if it's not the main what describe your life, it's your faith. If your faith is focused on something else, you will not have power. And that's why we have two types of people. Somebody experiencing crisis will go and turn his heart in very negative condition. Will complain, will say, church doesn't love me. Christ doesn't love me. And they will spread poison around. But other people who filled with Christ, who have relationship with Christ, they will come here and they will tell the congregation, listen, there are things overwhelming me. But I am so grateful for His presence, for His grace. Their attitude would be different. But it's all because they rely on Jesus. It's very simple. He died for us. He invites us to Him, and He wants to fill our life, and He wants us to have a relationship. At the end, this relationship motivates us to do something for His glory. It's out of relationship with Him. So I just want to remind you that the most important in our faith is that Christ is in you, the hope of glory. And we must remind ourselves, we must focus our faith on Christ, not on our efforts, but on Christ, and allow Him to do what He wants in our life. If you've been part of Alpha course, you probably remember Nicky Gamble bringing an example of faith. He's saying about a missionary who have been in a tribe of cannibals. And sharing with them about gospel, they came to a difficulty. They did not know how to describe faith, because cannibals do not trust anyone. Would you? So he struggled. He just did not know how to describe faith. And one time he was sitting with a tribal guy on the wood, and idea came to his mind. So he just lifted up his body on this wood, just lift up his hand and relied totally on this wood. And he asked this person, what does it mean? What did I do right now? And he said, you put all your weight on. And missionary said, exactly. This is faith. This is what faith means. You have to put our weight on Jesus. We need to put our trust on Him. We just need to rely on Him and allow Him to become our strength. I want to leave you with that. The Jesus only. If you build up your life on Him, on relationship with Him, you will be strong. you will always have a source of life within you. And He will help you to go through any challenges, through any situation. Can I pray for you? Lord Jesus, I want to thank you for this church, for this congregation, for these wonderful people, for opportunity to be again here. And I just ask you to remind them, all of them, about your goodness, about your life, and help them, Lord, if they need to, return in your presence and find your happiness, find your joy, find your life, and grow in that. In Jesus' name, amen.